Ferrari. Cristiano de Matta in the Toyota leads us off.
Giancarlo Fisichella stunned everyone with Force India's first ever pole position in Belgium. The Italian kept his advantage into turn 1 on race day, but when midfield chaos ensued, he was under attack at the restart from the Kurz-powered Raikkonen behind. He was helpless to defend from the Ferrari, who quickly took over at the front. Fizzy kept the gap close all race long, but the Ferrari's Kurz advantage was enough to hold him off. Still, a brilliant result for the team, who had never scored a point in the sport before, let alone a podium finish.
Actually, I'm a little bit disappointed because unfortunately we had the safety car, and Kimi, after just the safety car, was so close to me, and with the Kurz, he overtook very easily.
Lando Norris does get away very well. Into the first braking zone we go. Carlos Sainz locks up. It's Sainz in the lead. Lando Norris has got past Carlos Sainz. The rain is increasing out there on the track, and I think all drivers are now starting to struggle because that is looking very treacherous indeed.
I think Mercedes are going to come in, Crofty. I think they're going to play it safe.
And they do come in to the pits. Now, is that the right decision or the wrong decision? We'll only find out at the checkered flag. And look how heavy the rain has come down and how much spray is out on the track. And Hamilton takes the lead of the race as Lando Norris slides off the track.
I could have won the race and I didn't, so I'm never going to be happy like this. But yeah, it's the way it is. It's the way it went. We made the decisions. I made the decisions that I made, and they were obviously wrong in the end of the day.
The best getaway belonged to Alesi, who screamed from 4th to 1st before the opening bend.
Senna and Alesi were providing some brilliant entertainment. The Brazilian made his long-awaited move in textbook fashion, only to watch the apprentice ignore convention and steal it back with a move as daring as it was cheeky.
Alesi made himself the darling of the media and the hero of the hour as the two battled like dog fighters. Senna then pounced at the same corner, this time remembering to shut the door. The underpowered Tyrrell on its Pirelli tyres proving a match for the mighty McLaren. Senna is too good a driver to let his advantage slip, and Jean Alesi was a sensational second for Tyrrell, and Alesi had shown true star quality.
Hulkenberg took pole here in 2010. Now he took the lead of the race from Button. Lap 48 and Hamilton was rapidly catching Hulkenberg. Until a slide for the Force India made Lewis's life a bit easier. Force India really did have good pace. Hulkenberg had reeled in Hamilton and hoped to take advantage through the back markers. But that wasn't going to help anybody. Their joy soon turned to despair.
Neither Patrese in the Williams or Capelli in the Leighton House had come into the pits, and as a result they were in 1st and 2nd place. Capelli, revelling in the new design, then took the lead.
The Leighton House team could hardly believe their eyes. Non-qualifiers in the last race, now they were 1st and 2nd. For Capelli, it was a brilliant day. He held the lead for a total of 45 laps, longer than anyone in the race. The Italian performed miracles until just 3 laps from the finish, when a stuttering engine gave the world champion the break he needed. So Prost was on his way to the 9 points.
I had some problem with the oil lights of the engine, and so in the last 2 laps the engine started to have problems, and I'm lucky to finish 2nd.
Sergio Perez took advantage of changeable conditions in the 2012 Malaysian Grand Prix, pitting earlier than anyone for full wet tyres as the rain began to fall heavier. Once the others came in a few laps later, the Mexican found himself in 3rd, behind both McLarens. After a spell under red flag conditions, a slow 2nd stop for Lewis Hamilton and a damaged front wing for Jenson Button suddenly saw the Sauber driver fight for the lead with Fernando Alonso. The Ferrari had got ahead, but Perez kept him honest all race, chasing for a shop race victory. In the closing stages, he would have to settle for 2nd, as getting out of line on the damp track allowed the Spaniard some breathing room. Finishing 2nd was an excellent result though for Checo and his team.
Unbelievable. I was just a bit angry that I didn't win, but all in all I'm very happy, very proud of my team.
Hakkinen leads, Salo's a sensational 2nd. It's a blowout on Hakkinen's McLaren at tremendous speed. The Finn can do nothing to slow himself down, and it's a heavy impact. After Hakkinen's retirement, Mika Salo led briefly before allowing his teammate Eddie Irvine through to his 2nd successive win.
I never gave the call, thank God. I know what it feels like. You know, Mika, what a star today. Like, you know, it's his race. He's getting the trophy. I'd feel bad if it was sitting on my mantelpiece.
After he left Williams at the end of 1996, the reigning world champion was convinced to join Tom Walkinshaw's Arrows team for 1997. By the time Formula One headed for Hungary in August, he had just a single point on the board. But there was something in the air in Budapest as Hill came out of nowhere to vault to the front of the grid.
I'm going through, and Damon Hill leads! Oh my!
He went on to extend his lead to 30 seconds as the paddock looked on in disbelief. But with just 3 laps left, heartbreak for Hill. A hydraulic pump on his Arrows failed.
Villeneuve's going to take the lead. Villeneuve is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Hill was denied the victory he deserved, but his heroic performance still meant a second place and matched Arrows' best Grand Prix result.
Hakkönen's under pressure. Barrichello's looking to pass. Mika's slowing and the Brazilians through to first place. The crowd are jubilant. Tense times in the steward pit as they wait for Barrichello. This could be the driver's and the team's first win, but they know everything must run like clockwork. It's a good one, and the Brazilian makes his way out. That's Barrichello out of the race. The steward's engine letting down the local hero. Ruben sits dejected in his car, but the fans show their appreciation at one of the best drives by a Brazilian since the glory days of Ayrton Senna.
There's debris on the track at Cops. Coulthard's cockpit safety padding has come loose. Toyota were quick to change their strategy and pit under the safety car.
Oh my goodness me, just like Hockenheim a couple of years ago, we've got a lunatic on the track, down the hangar straight, safety car out, of course.
The cars are all out of sequence. Those who pitted earlier are now ahead. Toyota will be saying their prayers with both cars leading the field.
And Cristiano de Matta in the Toyota leads us off again. We're green flag racing here at Silverstone.
It's been a sterling effort from de Matta. He'd kept Kimi behind for nearly 20 laps, but finally he has to pit for fuel and rejoin 7th.
Following a huge crash for Toyota's Timo Glock against the pit wall, the safety car was inevitably deployed. The pit lane was closed, so those who had already pitted earlier suddenly found themselves at an advantage. Renault's Nelson Piquet Jr., the biggest beneficiary, having just fueled to the finish. The Brazilian kept and held on to a lead until Lewis Hamilton eventually caught back up with him and made the pass just 8 laps from the finish. Second place was still an excellent result though.
The boys in the team, they said, look, Nelson, let's just go for a first long one, and we can decide if we can go, we do a 2-stopper or 1-stopper. As we were starting 17s, I didn't want to say too much because they were a bit angry with qualifying already, so I said, okay, let's go with that, and luckily it was perfect.
Senna's reputation as a wet-weather genius was established in his rookie season at the 1984 Monaco Grand Prix. Starting in 13th, and in near-torrential rain, Senna masterfully manoeuvred his Tollman up to second place, passing legends such as Niki Lauda along the way. But Prost complained that the conditions were too dangerous, and clerk of the course Jackie Ickx agreed, red flagging and stopping the race. As the results were then counted from the last completed lap, Prost was awarded victory, cruelly denying both Senna and Tollman an historic maiden win. Marcus Winkelhock was brought in for a one-off appearance, and no one would have expected what was to happen next. With the chance of rain showers rising, some inspired opportunism saw the team start Winkelhock on full wet tyres, with the rest of the grid on slicks. When the rain started to fall heavily on the opening lap, everyone else poured into the pits to change tyres, leaving the German leading the field with a 36-second gap at the end of the third lap in his very first Grand Prix. The dream, however, was cut short, as the race was eventually red flagged and the field bunched up. At the restart, the spiker quickly dropped back down the order, before retiring on lap 13 with a hydraulic issue, and Winkelhock would never race in Formula One again.